Live from New York, it's Saturday night.
Welcome to MsMojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the most groundbreaking or defining moments on Saturday Night Live over the last 50 years. Number 10. Betty White's landmark hosting gig. Who's your dream SNL host? Would you launch a Facebook campaign to get them on the show?
When I first heard about the campaign to get me to host Saturday Night Live, I didn't know what Facebook was. And now that I do know what it is, I have to say, it sounds like a huge waste of time.
In 2010, David Matthews did just that for Betty White. While it's often said her iconic Snickers Super Bowl commercial inspired his campaign, Matthews' dream of hearing White deliver the iconic intro reportedly goes back to her Golden Girls days.
Now lean in close. This is very important. Live from New York, it's Saturday night!
Fans rallied behind the idea, with the campaign reportedly reaching 640,000 likes. White, a national treasure, was already on Lorne Michaels' wish list, but the stars hadn't aligned until then. She essentially became the first host chosen by the fans via social media.
I just want to say I feel so loved. Thank you. If I could, I would take you all on a big hayride.
At 88, she became the oldest SNL host. Meanwhile, Drew Barrymore remains the youngest, hosting at just 7. Number 9. SNL goes big at the box office. Beyond Studio 8H, SNL made its mark on the silver screen, turning fan-favorite sketches into full-length feature films.
Tomorrow we gotta get the band back together.
It started in 1980 with Dan Aykroyd and John Belushi's The Blues Brothers, which reportedly hauled in over $115 million at the box office. Then came Wayne's World in 1992, a mega hit that convinced Michaels to turn more sketches into movies. And yes, sequels too.
We're not worthy! We're not worthy! We're not worthy! We're stuck!
Sure, not all of them were box office smashes, but they gave us more time with characters we loved. Apparently, the Coneheads even inspired the plot of Third Rock from the Sun. Michaels really knows how to leave his fingerprints all over pop culture, huh?
Everyone got 10 fingers and 11 toes? Check. Good. I guess we're in.
Number 8. Eddie Murphy to the rescue. Eddie Murphy is widely credited with saving SNL during the show's rocky early 80s era. After Michaels left in 1980, the show faced declining ratings and forgettable sketches under new management.
O'Donohue fired everybody, and he came in and he said, and the only reason Murphy didn't get fired is because he ate that dog food. And I was like, but that wasn't dog food, that was hash. And he looked at me like, what the f? But it was too late, and I kept the show.
When Murphy joined as a featured player that same year, SNL was on the brink of cancellation, but his unmatched charisma and comedic genius changed everything. Characters like Buckwheat, Gumby, and Mr. Robinson weren't just hilarious, they became cultural icons.
You're a nobody, okay? You never was a somebody. You're not even a has-been. You're a never was.
Fans tuned in just to see Murphy, who quickly became the heart of the show. His breakout success didn't just save SNL, it proved how one star performer could revive and redefine the series for a whole new era.
So much has changed since we last spent some time together.
Number 7. Dave Chappelle's post-election monologue. Chappelle's 17-minute monologue ahead of the 2025 inauguration broke a record that he himself set in 2020. But we're giving this spot to the monologue that followed the 2016 U.S. election, which is the most viewed on the SNL YouTube channel.
The whites were furious. We've never seen anything like it. I haven't seen white people this mad since the OJ verdict. There's a split screen with white people on both sides.
With much of the world shaken by the election results, Chappelle had his work cut out for him. Known for his social commentary, he tackled many people's concerns.
All my black friends who have money said the same thing when Trump got elected. That's it, bro. I'm out. I'm leaving the country. You coming with us? Nah, I'm good, dog. I'm gonna stay here and get this tax break, see how it works out.
It felt more like a mini stand-up set, but the views say it all. It was exactly what a lot of folks needed at that moment.
And I'm gonna give him a chance, and we, the historically disenfranchised, demand that he give us one too. Thank you very much.
Number 6. Richard Pryor hosts. For proof that SNL is truly live, just look at the accidental F-bombs dropped over the years.
Man, hey! Also, come on, Sam.
Back in 1975, Lorne Michaels was eager for comedian Richard Pryor to host, but NBC was concerned his edgy comedy might be too risky for their brand. Initially, they refused, but when Michaels threatened to leave in protest, they agreed to air the episode with a 5-second delay.
The bed must be on the floor! The bed is on my foot! The bed is on my foot!
Pryor, the first black comedian to host, was understandably offended, pointing out the double standard compared to the all-white hosts before him. You could say that in the end, Pryor had the last laugh. His episode, including the now controversial word association sketch, is still considered one of the show's best.
I think you're qualified for this job. How about a starting salary of $5,000?
Your mama!
$7,500 a year.
Your grandma!
Number 5. Live from New York for the very first time. On October 11th, 1975, people tuned in to check out a brand new late-night sketch show called NBC's Saturday Night. The first episode was hosted by the legendary comedian George Carlin and introduced some rising comedic talents, dubbed the Not Ready for Primetime Players.
Say a criminal entered your kitchen with the intent of preparing an illicit piece of toast.
Toast?
Toast. Only we offer the Crispo Crust self-detonating fragmentation toaster. Or this handy 357 Magnum Mixmaster.
This first episode had a different look to what we know today, mixing up sketches, monologues, and musical acts like a variety show. But it still had that famous opening line and the Weekend Update segment.
Yesterday in Washington, President Ford bumped his head 3 times getting into his helicopter. The CIA immediately denied reports that it had deliberately lowered the top of the doorway.
Plus, they showcased comedians Valerie Bromfield and Andy Kaufman and even had cameos from the Muppets. The story behind this iconic episode has been reimagined in the 2024 movie Saturday Night.
Live from New York, it's Saturday Night!
Number 4. Launching Weekend Update. Come on, admit it. Sometimes Weekend Update is your main news source, right?
A wild 2024 that saw Diddy go to jail, Donald Trump get re-elected president, and Elon Musk appoint himself co-president.
Especially when times are tough, it's nice to get the news with a side of humor. Weekend Update has been around since the very first episode with Chevy Chase at the helm. Since then, we've seen legends like Norm Macdonald, Jane Curtin, Kevin Nealon, Seth Meyers, and now Michael Che and Colin Jost taking the reins. In 2004, Tina Fey and Amy Poehler made history as the first all-female anchor team, quickly becoming fan favorites.
Kerry scored many points with voters and pundits by finally putting to rest criticism that he's a flip-flopper, saying, "I have one position on Iraq. I'm for against it."
Senator Kerry.
That was my first joke.
Your first joke, yay!
Over the years, Weekend Update has introduced tons of hilarious characters, covering everything from current events to the latest New York club trends. This place really has everything.
This place has everything. Skunks, K-fobs, Cookie Crisp, Dan Cortez.
Number 3. The rise of digital shorts. With YouTube launching in 2005, SNL had to go digital to stay relevant. In the mid-2000s, it honed in on these pre-recorded, quick production sketches that let them experiment with new formats, humor, and styles that didn't always fit the live sketch format. These digital shorts often featured music, viral humor, and fast editing that connected with younger audiences. One of their earliest shorts, Lazy Sunday, went viral and apparently even played a pivotal role in YouTube's rise. The Lonely Island, who spearheaded the format, had a strong streak during their time on the show. Even after they left, SNL continued to evolve the format, finding fresh ways to connect with fans beyond TV. Number 2. The first post-9/11 episode. After the 9/11 attacks, SNL faced a tough question.
Can we be funny? Why start now?
For Michaels, the answer was clear. The show had to go on. He reached out to then New York Mayor Rudy Giuliani for approval to air the show on September 29th, just 18 days after the tragedy. Hosted by Reese Witherspoon, the writers struggled to find the right tone, ultimately deciding to focus on escapism while keeping any mention of the events to an absolute minimum.
What's it like being unbelievably awesome and perfect?
Dios mío, I am not perfect. Yo tengo problemas just like everybody else. I mean, my hair is so naturally blonde that I can only wear pink or purple.
Of course, they couldn't ignore it completely. Giuliani, who was praised for his leadership after the attacks, was invited to address audiences during the cold open. Today, this episode is remembered for bringing audiences a slither of a silver lining in such dark times.
As we grieve for our loved ones, it's up to us to face the future with renewed determination. Our hearts are broken, but they are beating, and they are beating stronger than ever.
Before we unveil our top pick, here are a few honorable mentions. More Cowbell, one of modern SNL's most iconic sketches. Apparently, it continued to haunt Christopher Walken long after it aired.
Guess what? I got a fever. And the only prescription is more cowbell.
Haunted Elevator, featuring David S. Pumpkins. So simple, so random, yet it became a cultural phenomenon. Any questions?
Any question?
Debbie Downer, often credited for pushing the term into our lexicon.
Speaking of heat, if this greenhouse effect keeps up, we'll all be living underwater.
John Mulaney's musical sketches. Ever since the iconic Diner Lobster sketch, we can't help but get excited whenever he's slated to host.
And why would someone on a whim choose from all to order him? Who's this guy?
I thought that there was an unspoken rule that lobster in a diner's never cool.
All the Emmys. As of 2023, SNL has racked up an impressive 314 nominations.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications.
Number 1. The inaugural cameo from a presidential candidate. Today, it's pretty normal to see politicians on SNL, but that wasn't always the case. Back in 1976, President Gerald Ford was dealing with a lot of negative press.
I do have, I think, a good relationship with the president, and I usually know what he means even before he says it. It's after he says it that I get in trouble.
Seeing how powerful entertainment could be, he leaned into it, hoping it would help show his more human side to the public. In Season 1, Episode 17, hosted by his press secretary Ron Nessen, Ford made a surprise cameo during the cold open, delivering SNL's iconic line.
Live from New York, it's Saturday night.
Nessen also joined in on the fun with Chevy Chase, who often poked fun at the president. While it didn't help Ford win re-election, it marked a turning point in how politicians used entertainment to connect with voters.
Sometimes they poke a little fun at you on the show. It's all in good fun, and I think it'd be a good idea to show that you can take a joke.
That's very funny, Ron.
What do you think has been SNL's biggest landmark moment over the last 50 years? Let us know in the comments.
Well, isn't that special?
Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip from MsMojo. And be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.